Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents. In today's episode, EM demands nurse make me cover my tattoo that's scaring her sleeping child. Entitled mother wants to borrow expensive art supplies for younger sibling. Kid cries at my birthday party because he wants to be with my friend. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. EM demands nurse make me cover my tattoo that's scaring her sleeping child. I'm in the ER waiting room and an EM comes in with her deathly ill child that's fast asleep in her arms. I'm wearing a tank top and have a Spirited Away themed piece on my upper arm. I've been here for 2 hours already. EM keeps looking my way, huffing, dramatic sighs, and dirty looks. I have no interest in engaging, so I continue to ignore her. Finally, she stops a nurse and says, "You need to tell that person to cover that awful, offensive tattoo." Nurse gives a blank stare. EM continues, "It's scaring my child. He's traumatized." Nurse looks at me. I meet her gaze out of the corner of my eye. She looks down at EM and tells her to wait outside or in her car if she had a problem. EM keeps saying how traumatized her child is. She's woken him now from her yelling. She tells security that I need to move or cover up my horrific arm, where she's going to call the cops for indecent exposure. At this point, everyone is fed up. Security tells her to quit down and take a seat or leave, final warning. At this point, I'm laughing. Long story short, she tried to call the cops. An officer was already here. He poked his head in to look at me, then walked back out. Said something to her and she left, screaming bloody murder about indecent exposure to my poor child. I'm still currently in the waiting room. OMG, some people shouldn't leave their house. Hope you get seen soon. I hope her kid is okay. She might be crazy, but there's a reason she came to the hospital. Might be nothing but her crazy, but still. What was the tattoo? Maybe no face? I don't know what else would scare the child from that film. That's called Munchausen being an asshole by proxy. I'm wondering if she was trying to get them to take her and her kid back into a room sooner. I have a hunch that is exactly what she was trying to pull. That does not work when the staff has already triaged you to the group that can wait. You know this is a good hunch. I'm sure this is 100% what it was. I didn't know what Spirited Away was. I looked it up and I don't see anything wrong with it. The EM seems to be unhinged in some way. Her kid was asleep, so no traumatizing was taking place. More than likely, the mother didn't have a clue what she was looking at and took her sense of entitlement and decided to make a scene. I'm glad everyone else had calm heads and she got kicked out. It wouldn't surprise me if she posts on here about her horrible experience with an entitled tattooed person in the ER waiting room. I just hope whatever was wrong with her child was taken care of. Good on you, OP, for keeping your composure in that situation. Some crazy people are actually offended by tattoos. That's it. Tattoos. Nothing more or less. It's quite comical to come across them, just ask OP. This reminds me of when my mother was getting some tests done and was complaining to the nurse about the horrible tattoo my son had gotten and how tattoos ruin people's lives, etc. The woman was freaking crying as she was talking. The nurse, having had enough, rolled up his scrub sleeve, showing a full sleeve tattoo. My dad said he just busted out laughing and told Mom to shut up. My only complaint about a friend's tattoos: he went cheap. He asked what I thought of his newest one. I hate it. Colors are muddy, didn't fill in all the spaces, and ran outside others. Lines have gaps, etc., etc. These were not artistic choices, it was just a crap job. Her need for medical attention was much greater than yours. She's obviously got some sort of stick up her arse. She's the one traumatizing the kid with her yelling poor child. I wonder what else she has to go through with the mom. Entitled mother wants to borrow expensive art supplies for younger sibling. Hi. I'm 16M and my brother, 14M, hasn't been doing very well with public school, so my parents have decided to move him to homeschooling. I think that decision is great because he tends to get bullied a lot at school, and I think homeschooling will at least help him with being away from that. My issue with the situation is what my mother, EM, wants to do for art class. I am an artist, I do commission work, and I tend to work with physical mediums such as watercolor, oil pastel, oil paints, and acrylic. I've invested a lot of time and my own money into some of those supplies, particularly my watercolors and my brushes for several mediums. To give any reference as to how expensive some of these supplies are, I'll list a few: 72 pack of Derwent watercolor pencils, 3 Derwent 12 color paint palettes, several 6 packs of Sennelier oil pastels, and about a dozen good quality brushes. Some of my supplies have been paid for with my own money from my own job, while others have been bigger Christmas and birthday presents. EM refuses to buy art supplies for my brother's homeschooling art class because we have some at home already. He can just borrow yours. This has been an ongoing situation for months, and she refuses to acknowledge that my brother, although I love him dearly, will definitely destroy some of my art supplies and doesn't even have a strong interest in art, so I don't want him using the more expensive and higher quality ones. Because the school year has been getting closer, because it's summer, she's been going on and on about how it's just a few brushes and paints, which has led to the most recent development. She, EM, walked into my room earlier today and just took one of my Derwent palettes and some brushes and walked out. They weren't even watercolor brushes, they were for acrylic. I tried confronting her about it, and she told me that since I was so against the use of MY art supplies for my brother's art class, she was just going to confiscate it ahead of time so we can come to a compromise. Seeing as this happened earlier, there isn't really much after that, but I'm hoping I can get that palette back soon. However, as the school year gets closer, I'm concerned she's going to try and confiscate some of my other supplies like colored pencils, pastels, acrylics, etc. I'm afraid to leave my room unsupervised while she's in the house. Time to buy a lockbox on Amazon. Also, since she doesn't know one brush from another, buy some cheap stuff for your brother. Maybe that will appease her. Also, when she's not around, take your stuff back. If there's another adult that can advocate for you, talk to them. This is what I would suggest. Instead of arguing with your mom about your art supplies, buy some cheaper ones for your brother and buy yourself a lockbox. Tell your mom you are getting him student supplies. Good luck. Dollar Tree has brush packs, sets of tubed watercolors and strips of acrylic pots, stretched canvases, palettes and more. Opie could walk out with a nice looking setup that mom probably couldn't distinguish from the good stuff for under $10. Come to think of it, this may be what mom wants. Print out a list for the cost of the art supplies and then provide her with an invoice with the amount that she will owe you for the supplies. Do these steps in order. 1. Tell your family that your mom is trying to steal your art supplies that you pay for. Hopefully she gets shamed. 2. Blast her on social media, calling her R for being a thief. 3. Go on Amazon and buy a lockbox that can fit all of your things you don't want taken. The bigger ones are expensive, but worth it. There is a locker size one for $250. It will fit a lot of your things if you organize it well. Make sure it's a number lock and then write it down once on a piece of paper. Use invisible ink and put where no one's going to suspect the hiding place. 4. Put the lockbox in your closet after it's filled. Good luck. Buy your brother some art supplies for reasons/birthday/holiday and use your money. Your mother is basically acting as a tyrant. She is unlikely to change unless you gain the upper hand over her. Likely her parents did the same to her. Her authority over you is more valuable to her than your respect. It's a poor choice on her part. I know what you're going through. I had to explain to my mom more than once that no, it would not be a great idea to send my Prismacolor pencil set to my little nephew to go with the Paw Patrol coloring books. I'd definitely buy an inexpensive watercolor kit for your brother, but what would you think of offering to help with the art lessons? You might let your mother know that she took a $30 or $40 watercolor palette and guessing between $60 and $70 worth of acrylic brushes that won't work properly with the watercolors. So maybe she isn't really qualified to teach art. Considering she wanted to use acrylic brushes for watercolors, I don't doubt it. Send her a bill for the stolen supplies. Maybe put them in a basket on Amazon, then take a picture of the checkout price. He's 14 and doing poorly enough in his classes that she wants to homeschool him, but she's this concerned about art supplies? Not math, not science, but art supplies? Instead of teaching, is she just planning on having him color all day? Get yourself a good-sized lockbox to keep your supplies in. Buy some cheap stuff to keep out and in confiscating reach. By the way, have you tried Arteza products? Their woodless watercolor pencils are pretty good with intense colors pigments. Think they're a fair bit less costly than Derwent hint, but still look the part. People have the right to their preferences. I use Derwent, which does the job, Copics, never for anyone else's use, no matter who they are, and varying others, but look. Someone's own art supplies can be from the group they want to use. We have the right to comfort as artists. Kid cries at MY birthday party because he wants to be with my friend. EP, entitled parent. EK, entitled kid. Okay, so, this was years ago. I was having my birthday party at a cook school, which is basically a place where you go and learn to cook food. I was around 9 at the time and really into cooking. Anyway, I invited a couple of my friends, including the EK. We all arrived at the venue. The parents dropped off their kids and went and got coffee, all except the EK's parent, Epi. Now I didn't really pay any attention to that, but I did see my mom giving EP some weird looks after all the safety information was told. We started to make out dishes. As soon as we started, I heard from across the room a loud AF scream/screech, so I looked around and saw EK bawling his eyes out because he wasn't with my friend. His mother went over there and asked him what's wrong, and through tears he started saying something about wanting to be with my friend. Now keep in mind the EK doesn't know my friend. Anyway, his mother walked over, grabbed my arm and pulled me away from my friend. I was opening my mouth to complain when she cut me off. I tried again, she cut me off again. I started to sob. Keep in mind I'm just a child being yelled at by an adult, and she gets annoyed at me for that, saying I'm distracting everyone. With no hint of irony, she then forces me to wait outside until the end of the session. Near the end, the rest of the parents come back and see me sitting outside, and they are obviously confused. My mom asks me what happened and I tell her. I had never seen her so angry. I didn't see what happened, but I heard shouting, and then the EP and EK came out, got into their car, and left. It's been years since then, still no idea of what my mom said. The program staff allowed a random adult to drag off someone else's child? That sounds like retraining and security was needed. Yeah, interesting. Usually the staff knows who the birthday kid is and who paid for the party. They would let rando parent kick the birthday kid out of his own party? Ask her. I would bet money she remembers most of what she said to EP. Hopefully she tried to make up for the crap that EP pulled. Sounds like EP needs a crash course in birthday party etiquette. I hope your mom also went off on the workers. I would have been filing a complaint about them. Sounds like a job for the friendship detective. Solving clingy birthday party mysteries one tantrum at a time. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.